I don't want to see you fail. Let's talk about why artists fail and how to correct that. What's up, everybody? My name's Randy. I've been an audio engineer for 16 years. I've worked with so many artists that need to get to that next step, but not sure who can help them and what guides they need to follow. They see where they're at in contrast to where these big artists are, and they don't see anything in between them. What I call the fog of mystery. Inside this fog of mystery is actually where people live and earn money and have a career. Let's clear up some of this fog and get to the point. Why most artists fail. Reason one, consistency. To make music a career, you need to see this in the long term. We don't play the lottery ticket mentality here. This is a hard business and it takes time. This may not sound like good news, but hear me out. There are tons of working parts to a business, and it takes a long time to learn what those things are and how to implement those things into a business. Not to mention how you need to customize those things to your personal brand. Consistency is the only way to put in enough reps to actually put things together, learn from it, re-implement, and change things for the better. You have to constantly learn. You have seasons when you might not be creating that much, and those are perfect times to fill in that time with, figure out how to shoot videos, edit those videos, research publishing companies, and God forbid, practice your scales. Inconsistency will leave tons of holes in your knowledge, so don't stop. Keep going. The world never stops, so why should you? Someone putting in more work than you might fly right past you, even if you think they suck. Doesn't that suck? Why most artists fail? Reason number two, you can't find your audience. There are a couple factors in this. Your music sucks. I don't like that way of thinking. It's not helpful. Let's break it down like this. I work with a lot of artists. Sometimes they're on day one. Sometimes they're on 30 years. Every single one of them has something to improve on in their music. Be very unbiased about what can be better about your music. Be open to hearing critiques, especially in context to what kind of character you're trying to build, what kind of audience you're trying to build. Sure, maybe it's something in the mix. But honestly, it's your performance that I'm worried about the most. It could be the wrong emotion, it could be too safe, or out of control vocally. When you're out of control vocally, that usually means your consistency throughout the take wavers. Some parts feel confident, some parts don't. Sometimes you're trying to sing a note and it flies way out of control. That kind of stuff. If you record yourself, this is especially hard. You're thinking about controlling the computer and getting everything set up right as you're recording. Plus you have to think about the character. I know it's possible, but it makes it a challenge, and a lot of people don't, and you need to respect that factor because it's huge. I don't care if you've been doing this for a long time, it's still pulling your attention in different directions. When I'm engineering somebody in a session, I want to make sure that they are thinking purely about their character and about their verse and about the song. I try to take all the technical stuff about it out of the way, so that way they could just flow with the song and naturally connect with it. The more they start thinking about the process, it slows them down. Not everybody, but pretty much everybody. If you got an engineer that's not helping you coach in the booth, then damn, you got to make sure that you step your standard up. I know how it goes sometimes. Some of the artists that I work with will go to a different studio or be in a situation where they're not really prepared, and you need to have that standard yourself to make sure that it's right. Listen back, tell the engineer if you think it should be better. Take control over your sound. Factor number two is you're not paying attention to your audience and what they want to hear. You have to test the waters, try out different kinds of styles, read the data, look at what's working and what's not. If you're in the beginning, this is the tough part because you can't just release one or two songs and know exactly what your audience thinks, especially if you don't have an audience. You need to spend time releasing more and using each release as a way to collect data to see what works or not. But in the beginning, just go with your gut first. Go with what you love doing and put a bunch of that out there. See how people react. Creating music for your audience might actually mean to change aspects of your music to meet them halfway. Just make sure that you love it and it's from your perspective. I'm not asking anybody to do something fake or not what they love doing. It's just good to try out a lot of different things in the beginning to figure out where your boundaries are. And always test those boundaries. Don't just keep them set for your whole career. A lot of times what happens when you're doing this for a long time, those boundaries on the side that you set up will start narrowing and start closing in on you. And people that have been doing this for a long time, what will happen is they won't be able to get outside of that anymore. You end up making the same song over and over and over again. To you, it feels way different than the last song that you made, but to the audience, they can't tell the difference. Some people automatically just make music that resonates, and no matter what they do, it just gets a lot of attention from people. People love it, and it doesn't seem like they had to try that hard to make that happen. That's how it goes sometimes. If this isn't you, you're in the majority, and this just means that you got to look into it a little bit more. I can hear you on the mic. This is one of those times when you're trying to record and your family doesn't want you to succeed. Why most artists fail? Reason 3. You don't post enough. Here I go again. I'm a broken record in the studio. Every song should have roughly 20 posts more or less. I shouldn't have to do that. My art is my art. Stop. For hobbies, sure. But if you're trying to build a long-lasting brand, you gotta get with it. Nobody knows what they don't see. And what they see comes from attention media. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, yada yada. But Randy, I just want to release the song with a photo that says, out now, and I just want it to catch fire to the world organically. Again, this isn't a lottery ticket business. You need to maximize your exposure and plant seeds. You could tell the difference between people who do this and don't do this. Why? Because you can see the people that do this, and you can't see the people that don't. Why most artists fail? Reason 4. Your posts aren't getting views. First of all, how long have you actually been consistently posting? How many years? What are you actually posting? Man, I'm sure if you had a marketing manager look at your profile, they'd probably tear that shit up. Mine too, by the way. We're all in this pain together. And when I say consistently, I'm not just talking about release schedule. I'm talking about the color scheme, the aesthetic, your character archetype, brand recognition, watch retention optimization in your editing. I had to say that a couple times to get it. If you aren't consistent with these things, you won't know how to steer your content. The algorithm won't know who to push your content to. Unfortunately, there's no easy way to do this, but there are ways to start. If you're in this long term, I want to see at least these things being worked on. I know a lot of people that are working on a couple of these, but almost nobody's working on all these. Maybe they're really good at number 1, but they're terrible at number 2. To recap, reason number 1 is about consistency. Be consistent, don't drop the ball. Reason number 2, you can't find your audience. Look at yourself in the mirror, or look at your music's self in the mirror. Ask what could be better to connect with your audience. Find people that you know and can trust that will not bullshit you, and get the most honest, brutal feedback you possibly can. You're going to have to warn them that they have to be brutal. You don't have to do everything that they say, but you could take it in and see what works for your style. You have to pay attention to what your audience wants if you want this to be a business. Only a very few lucky ones don't. And that's great for them. But the rest of the world, we're all here struggling trying to figure out how to get better, right? I know that's you, right? You're trying to get better. Reason number 3, you don't post enough. Either your post count is low, your post type isn't the right kind of type that resonates with your audience, or you're creating content for the wrong platforms. Reason number 4, why your posts aren't getting views. This is a tough one, but you have to up your content. It has to be more entertaining. Since social media is dead and now it's interest media, you have to pay attention to how long people are on your stuff. How long are you keeping people watching your videos? You have to up the time. Every second counts. Remember, you need consistency to find your audience. Post more and adjust your post strategy to get results. Of course, there are so many more to get into, but I want your guys' opinions in the comments. What did I miss? What should I tackle next time? Do you think that I'm wrong on any of these? I want those comments. Like, subscribe. I appreciate your guys' time. I'll see you next time.